full cycle recruitment. And
This meeting is being recorded.
from past 1 year, I have been hiring for Google. And the journey was a smooth until this layoff thing happened. So even after the brand value, what is happening, like in mid of July to August, there was a freeze that happened in most of the organizations. But among all those negative news, uh, there was a one uncertain situation which happened, that we got to know about a like sudden layoff which happened. We were not aware about that. So I will tell you the situation what happened. Suppose on Friday we got to know that people were laid off from our organization, and I have a meeting which was already scheduled with a candidate who was actively applying for my open position. So I was very nervous. First of all, how will I be able to answer their questions? Because of course they'll be asking about the hirings, that why are we hiring in mid of layoffs. So they upfrontly asked me that last week we got to know from LinkedIn that you have laid off some people, some experienced employees of yours, and now you are hiring. So how come this position is safe? What are your plans exactly? How can I see myself in this organization, uh, and like for a stable career? So how am I seeing after getting interviewed or getting selected? So how am I seeing my position over here? I was a little prepared. I tried to answer that question, but I would love to hear some more suggestions from everyone, because again, we know that still the layoffs are still continuously happening with some of the organizations. So candidates usually ask this. What I told them that see, these layoffs or these firings are a part of this field. So every year some of the organizations lay off due to some certain reasons, so we cannot avoid that particular situation. But the position for which I am hiring is very critical, and we are only hiring for the prioritized requirements. So that is the reason this position for which I am hiring you, or for which I am going to interview you, is safe. And you can be sure of the job security. But still, I told her, or I told that candidate particularly, that see, we cannot give a commitment, because the layoffs are happening in every organization. It may happen in your organization as well. So as of now, this particular requirement is open, and you could uh, trust on me. So that is what I told that particular candidate to gain her trust. But still, I would love to know your suggestions. What better could be the way to answer those candidates to gain their trust, even after having the brand value, whether it's Amazon, or whether it's Netflix, or whether it's Meta. It now not bothers. What matters is the people want to know about the job security. So how we can answer them?
Awesome. So, team, like you see, like we have Monica from Google who has a brand, and likewise, we might have many other people who has a brand like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, LinkedIn, Twitter, whichever the brand. But today, the candidate is not really concerned about the brand. Rather, they're concerned about whether their job is safe or not. So irrespective of the brand, maybe we are working at startup, or maybe we're working at consulting firm, or maybe we're working at some of the mid-tech firms. But end of the day, brand doesn't matter today. So how are we going to convince a candidate to join an organization which is already in a mode of firing? So that's definitely a biggest concern in the industry today, which each recruiter is having. So yeah, please feel free to share your thoughts. What different you would have done if you would have been in a Monica situation? What things you would have tried if you would have been in such a situation? Over to you,
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Hi, good evening, Shiv. Good evening, Monica. It's a good question, in fact, and it's relevant in the current industry. And let me tell you about myself. This is Anand Bhatt, and I have worked for 21 years in IT industry, and I had worked for Toshiba Software for 18 years. And recently, I have started my own recruitment and staffing company. And yeah, it's a valid question, and it's uh, true that, like, even as an candidate, even I also feel the same. In fact, if I am applying for a company, if they are firing, and I I don't want to apply in the initial stage, even though its a salary is good, even though the brand value is good, and still I relect. At least I don't want to apply in the initial stage, right? So, but we should not use layoff or whatever the jargon in HR. Like it's better to say like it's a restructuring. The company is restructuring, and we just in some of the divisions that restructuring is happening, and we have to convince in a such a way that okay, it's you don't have to worry. But no one can give any guarantee, as you said, for a candidate, right, Monica? Like we no one can give a guarantee job, guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in this world, as you know. So but with the brand value you have, definitely you can convince. And also like Google is a good paymasters, that is the one advantage. And you have a brand value, salary, you have a good benefits, still definitely people make turn out, right? That
Great,
is my
Anand.
view,
Anand,
baby. Yeah.
yeah, great, Anand. And the way you expressed your thoughts about, just let's not call it as a layoff, but rather start seeing it as a restructuring, which sounds more professional and more decent, more humble, in fact, comparable to a word layoff. That's a great takeaway from you, Anand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
please go
fact I
ahead if
have
you're.
done that in the in our company, previous company. In fact we also had to fire some of our employees, and we, even though we have a great brand value, even we have a good salary, benefits and all that, we had to fire some of the people because of uh, performance issue or attitude issue, whatever, or wrong hiring, whatever the reason. But yeah, we have to tell in a different way, and make sure like they leave the company in a good faith. In fact they should the all the wrong message should not go out in the public domain, social media domain, or even Glassdoor or everywhere. So we have to make sure like these people are uh, happily going out from the company. So that we have to make sure, because right, like Glassdoor, it is like everyone sees Glassdoor nowadays, like before taking an offer from any company, even though we have a brand value like Toshiba or maybe Google or whatever. The
Got it. Great. So yeah,
Yeah.
Anand, we do agree that we have to let them go in a firm manner, okay, by giving a great uh, packages, severance packages and all everything. But sometimes what happens is it's not in our control because some people really get emotional and personal when they are a part of such kind of a restructuring. And it's not them again, it's not they're driving it, it's their emotions which are driving it to do so. And that is something they're also doing unknowingly. They're just doing out of depression or out of disappointment. That is something I would say unconsciously they are doing it. It's just a state of mind, but otherwise nobody wants to blame a company where they work for about 5 to 10 years and all of the sudden such kind of a news comes. But it's still, I would consider it as still they're doing it unconsciously. But what we're trying to do is here in today's discussion, how do we convince a candidate when our company itself is on such kind of a restructuring mode, and when candidate is trying to ask a recruiter, see your company is currently on a restructuring mode, is my job safe? So that's where the main question is. So even they have a valid question, the way Monica is telling. So
Yes,
anyone
that is
else,
a right
please?
question, but we have to convince in such a way that okay, you are safe in this particular division, in this particular domain. We don't have any issues, and we have a lot of growth opportunities. We have to show maybe roadmap, or maybe we have to arrange a meeting or call with the hiring manager itself directly, or maybe one dinner or lunch we can arrange. Or because they are the right people to convince from their technical point of view, right? So they have to give a roadmap and the technical path and ladder, all that, and the technology they will be working on, all that. If they are able to convince, or maybe senior management itself, able to meet them, these candidates, and give them a kind of some assurance. So it's because we have done that in our company. So that is the best option to convince not only just HR and even the hiring manager, even top management as well,
Got
so
it.
that they will
Great.
have some confidence.
Great, Anand. Monica, any follow-up questions on
Hi,
this? Yeah.
hi, myself Sandhya Patel. So, with my 2 years of experience, like what I feel is we can change the way of thinking of candidate just by changing the thinking of the way candidate is thinking. Maybe we can attract him to join your organization. For example, any organization may lay off like 88% or like 9% or mostly like 15% of the employees. We should convey the candidate that like you are concentrating only on the people who we have laid off, but you're not concentrating on the rest of the people who are working with us. And if it is like something is bad with the company, then we have laid off like more than 60% or 80% on like maybe based on biasness or something. We have like kept very few members like that. But it's not like that. We are any companies just laying off 8% or 7% like that. So it is. And like we can convince them. Maybe a company may laid off the like particular uh, skill set candidates. For example, they might have laid off like employees with respect to who are working on Java or .NET. But I mean, you may be hiring that candidate for some other skill, like for SAP or something like that. So it's not like he can relate it to the same employee who got laid off. And we can convince him in another way, because and any company will laid off employee who was like not performing well when it comparing to his like CTC. So any company doesn't want to lay off the candidate who is performing very well. So we should convey the candidate like if you're confident enough to that you have confident on your skill set, that you can perform well, that you can grow in this organization, then yeah, this company is for you. Maybe we can convince in this way. This is my what I feel.
What's your name? Sorry, I just missed your name.
Sandhya.
Sandhya from
uh, I'm working with Prolifix.
Prolifix. Sandhya from Prolifix.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just asking because I'm just jotting down the notes from the contributors. Hope that is fine with you. Hope that is fine with you, Sandhya.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
No, I'm just asking because I'm just jotting down the notes from contributors. So that's the reason I'm just
Okay,
asking
okay,
your name and all. Hope that is
okay,
fine with
okay.
you. I'm asking Sandhya,
Yeah,
Anand,
that,
and
that's fine.
whoever
Yeah.
the contributor is.
Yeah,
Great.
I can say something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, sir. My answer is like this. Any layoff should be articulated in a very positive way. Organization should say this is a transformation, and we are improving or we are reducing the process inefficiencies. And as a part of process inefficiencies, some headcount or resource reduction is happening. Along with this message, the other message should always be conveyed with the and operator, saying based on our new diversification, new areas of work, we will be definitely hiring critical resources needed for the business. So with these two messages, people or the candidates joining will be little comfortable. Yes, this organization is on a path of continuous improvement, and it is not a, and they are hiring as per critical resources. It will give a very positive message to the organization. But these two messages should be well conveyed in any uh, LinkedIn post or wherever, these layoff messages are coming. That is what I'm saying. This is what I'm
So
saying. So
basically, you mean to say that the way the communication goes out for the impacted employees, it has to be well articulated and well uh, thought through the
yes,
kind
sir.
of benefits, the kind of ups and downs, what the
Definitely.
industry is going through, and what are the
Yes.
reasons. And it should be
Yeah.
kind of a convincing reasons and the valid reasons
Yes.
to explain a particular impacted employee uh,
Yes.
why they do not um, means
Yes.
how this
Yes.
gesture is basically justified.
Yeah. And you see this message, how I take it, if this message comes to me, I really understand. Yes, organization is here for making business, and if they are doing so, legacy inefficiencies in the process. Like for one role, there may be multiple people sitting at different departments. They may be spending 1 hour, 2 hours, in a day. So why not to think or integrate? And ideally, the good organizations, they do this transformation every year. They start somewhere in October, November, and come out with a new organization. So that gives, but that message should go to the audience that critical resources will be hired as and when required. So these two messages,
Yeah.
will give
So
a
Sangeeta,
positive
here the
message.
question is basically how do you convey the candidate when the candidate is trying to negotiate an offer with you, but the candidate is really concerned about when the company is already in the restructuring mode. Is it
Yeah,
really safe for me to join that particular company?
sir,
And
this, yeah, please carry on.
so
Yeah,
this
please.
is something the candidate point of view. How as a recruiter we are going to convince the candidate. That's what the question is all
So,
about.
sir, question is all about, this is a honest answer. And
So
let me
So
be
we
very
are
candid.
communicating to
Yeah,
candidates. We are communicating to the impacted employees. That's the way of communication, I understand. But
yeah.
what about the candidate? Let's say you're
Huh,
a candidate, or let's say
yes,
you're a recruiter and I'm a candidate, and your
yeah.
company is firing, and you're negotiating an offer with me, and I'm asking you,
Understood.
your
Yes,
company is on firing
yes,
mode, your company is on restructuring mode. Is my job
yes,
safe in
yes.
your company?
So,
If
so
yes,
my
then how
answer,
it is safe?
yeah, how it is safe, I will tell him, look, why we are coming to you, because this is the one critical vacant position in the after our restructuring. That is why we are hiring you. We have to give him that we are taking you because this position has turned out to be really critical. That is why we are coming back to you. You see your skills. We don't have in our organization. So you see the kind of message. And as a organization, we have to be very transparent. We cannot create or sweet messages. We have to give them this message. This is a positive message, and candidate, if he sooner the better he understands, he will feel so motivated. Yes, this organization is on a path of, they are improving on business part and process efficiency. This is my view. And
And the
one
Hi,
thing
process
I want,
efficiencies.
yeah, answer
yeah.
is,
Hi, Shiv.
Hey guys, Akanksha here from Crickbuzz.
Shiva, I
Uh,
wanted to go next after Akansha.
Yeah,
shall
Kansha, you can go ahead.
Hey, hi,
Kansha
hi
from
everyone. I'm from Crickbuzz. It's a
Big
cricket
Bus.
app
Okay,
and website. Yeah, and we comes under Times Group.
got it.
So my way here will be like what I think is the question was at the beginning, like how to pitch the candidate for an opening in terms of when layoffs are happening, right? So first I'll give that answer and then how to pitch in the candidates in my view. And it worked for me actually, but in some or the other way. So first thing is, well, pitching to the candidate in terms of getting layoff, like in the era when layoff is happening, just be confident enough in terms of the history of the company. Like in that history, we didn't laid off anyone, and that is the particular reason we can pitch out with the candidate on a good sake, right? We didn't laid off since last 18 years we are in the market, and we didn't laid off anyone in the market as if. That's what I'm talking about, how to attract a candidate with a good sake in name of company, in name of brand name also. This we can do in first phase. And second thing is, if somebody is getting laid off, then how to pitch in it within an organization. What I feel is, let's be transparent. What is happening in the company? Let's be very transparent in terms of a good sake of the employee also. So be with like an maintaining a transparency, I think, will help in the restructuring of the company. That helps the employee as well. So what I
Mm.
feel is these two factors, like with the brand name, come with the history that there, what is the particular reason we are going through it, and then maintaining the transparency of the employee, and that's thing I think which will be a win-win situation for both of us, as a recruiter and as a candidate as well.
Great point. Monica, any thoughts on this? Any follow-up questions on this?
Yeah, so first follow-up question for Anand, that he was telling that we can have a connect with hiring manager, and like we can have a dinner or lunch, or like we can have that connect. So that is good for those candidates whom we are going to offer, or who are in their final stages. But here the question is about pitching, like where I'm reaching out to the candidate for the first conversation, for pitching them my opening so that they can come and join my organization. So this is the first question. Like here I can't do the hiring manager connect, or I can let them connect with any other employee who is already working with my organization, so that I cannot do. So this is the first follow-up question for Anand. Another question for Akansha, I have that you said a valid point that we have a brand name and we can tell them history, like in 18 years or 20 years we never laid off. But right now the situation is something where we need to do this unfortunate layoff.
Correct.
But like there are some companies, suppose I'm not working for a big brand name, there are some other service based organizations which we always hear that every year they are doing some or other kind of layoffs or moonlighting or anything relate, but that is
Mm-hmm.
again a firing. So
Correct.
suppose we are a part of that organization, we know that every year this company is laying off. So how to convince that those candidates to join our organization, where we already know in like inside also that this is a question.
Monica, for that, I can say that you can hold on for the hiring for some time. Once the restructuring with the existing candidates will go on, then only look for the other candidates in the market. One thing means hold on for the hiring for some time for the new candidates, and look for the restructuring, how you can utilize your existing man force in terms of you can place them somewhere in the other projects, or you can help them moving into some other domain if they are seeking to take some different roles in the organization, because everybody is looking for some or the other thing from the market, right? And there will be some niche requirements where you want to fill up with your existing manpower. So I think that will be the way which you can, and it may help you out.
Yeah, I agree. But being a recruit, like from a recruitment team, some like that is a different HR
See,
team which takes care.
there always be an headcount for any project, right?
Hmm.
What manpower you require for, and what will be the team size. So if that is way the coming, the blue sheet will come across earlier only when the project starts, right? So my point will be hold on the hiring for some time. We can't play with the candidates in the market, right? To those who are looking with some or the other way, we have to think emotionally as well, because they have also their family with them. So hold on for that, tell this to your management, can we hold this for some time and later look for something, like at least what will happen, 1 or 2 months you have to hold on the hiring, that's it.
So I agree, Akansha, but sometimes in some organization, what happens is that that is something in our not in our control. And at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time, the requirements comes through the hierarchy, and we are supposed to deliver it. So
mean
in
so
that
in that
situation,
case,
hmm,
I can say, like we can utilize our existing manpower which exists in the company. That's my say. Like I can go forward with it.
got it. But let's say it's on a very high level where the decision has already been made, and
Hmm.
just being a recruiter, it might not be really in my hand, where I reach out to the internal employees because I don't even have a list of the
Correct.
impacted employee, and it might create an unnecessary chaos between the employees that HRBP is sharing a data that is against the
Mm-hmm.
data privacy. So,
Correct.
because I really don't know who is the impacted employees, maybe we can initiate, uh, Monica, a kind of a discussion or the kind of a initiatives with our own HRBPs or with our own uh, managers saying that why don't we create an employer referral program which should trigger to the impacted employees, and if someone is interested, why don't they apply, and if they are
Yeah,
really,
they can move internally into some
they
other
can move
place.
internally. So I
Yes,
think that initiative we'll have to pitch into the leadership. Why don't we create a employer referral program for the people who has been impacted for a
correct.
hot requirements what we have it. So I think that makes definitely a sense. Yeah, Jyoti, you have something to say?
Hey, hi, Chef. Yeah, it's a very interesting topic. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this. Like Akanksha said, I partly have a different opinion on this because in most of the top brand, top tier organization, it's an ongoing layoffs. Let's say we had a layoff that happened in October and then December, and even now we are having an ongoing layoffs, and we really don't know when this is going to end, right? So it's very important that when we talk to the candidates, we do set a realistic expectation that we don't know what the future lies in, but organization restructure is something that an organization will take as a last step when everything goes out of control. It's not targeted on the basis of performance of organization, but totally something where the economic situation doesn't allow the organization to continue employees. So as recruiters, I think having building that rapport and having that conversation the first level is extremely important. They may not be able to convince the candidate in the very first go, but keeping the candidate warm and having that conversations, engaging the business or the hiring managers in having that conversation with the candidates, setting up exploratory or information calls will definitely help. That's number one. And number two is what we do right now is we understand the market is in a very panicky situation. Nobody would be willing to just jump into an organization where there is active work, but we have some critical roles to close. So we have our hiring numbers in place. We have a projection that in another 3 months, this is going to be our numbers that's going to open up. These are the critical roles that go to open up. So we are proactively reaching out in the market, letting the candidates know that we do not have open roles right now, but we are reaching out to the market and reaching out to potential candidates to see if there's a fitment. And in the long run, if there is alignment on both ends, we would like to take it ahead. So that's number two. And first thing is, whenever there's a new role that opens, the priority is for internal candidates, which also includes candidates, internal employees, sorry, who have been impacted by layoffs. So we give that 2 weeks buffer time wherein internal candidates can apply. Internal employees, if we are not able to fill it, only then we go to the external market. So yeah, this is my 2 cents of information that I wanted to share.
Great. So Monica, any follow-up questions for you with Sandhya, Shami, Akansha, Jyoti?
I agree with Jyoti, what she said, that first of all, whenever a position is coming up, the internal employees are preferred who are ready to move into different skills. So I agree with her. Um, there's no follow-up question for that, but yeah, still,
Mhm.
if anyone has something more interesting to convince,
Yeah,
we
we
can
have a
move.
lot of hands
Uh,
raising over here.
Hi,
Uh,
Monica. This is
yeah,
Hari.
please unmute yourself and go ahead.
So, Monica, just to I get it. This is you getting this counter from very initial phone screening. So, wherein you had to tell about this position we are hiring, right? That message you have to set the tone very correctly. So, see, if you are confident, then you can say you will get the confidence for only from business. So, I would say collective points from everyone, and what we can do practically. See, we can hire, we cannot hire ourselves. With business help only we can hire. So take a snippet or, ask them to post something about we are hiring, loud and, do LinkedIn post or Twitter, wherever it possible. You sharing the same thing, while you're talking to the candidate, you can see we have been actively hiring. And this practice, this whatever this exercise, it keeps happening, in our organization every year. It's not that, but again, we don't have any defined answer, honestly. Only this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer. But I would say we're definitely collaborating with hiring managers will play. I'm sure you'll get some successful rate. But how you going to play? It could be you can get a video snippet, or you can get any a script, text, test, snippet, whatever it is. However, you can get the inputs, and you can share the same. You can get the same candidate gut feel, and you can process. I'm sure you definitely try to reach top-notch candidates from all the candidates. You will get too many counters from questions from candidates, especially. Maybe this will
Awesome.
help.
Yeah, awesome. What's the name? Sorry, I missed
Harish.
it. Harish.
Yes.
Yeah, Monica. So that's from Harish, and we have a couple of more people. Sheetal, you can go ahead, please. Then we have Pragya after that, after Sheetal.
Okay. In overall view, see, when we are talking to a candidate, he might obviously come back to us stating that, hey, you've just had a layoff, and why should I join you? First thing, please give a breakdown, not in terms of a percentage, but if you can break down in terms of numbers. Say if you're an employee strength of 10,000 people, and if about only 80 people are getting laid off, what is the percentage? Then you can give him the calculation. So give him an overall, him or her, an overall view of the numbers versus why did it happen. So we, as of now, we all see what's happening. It's being called out very loud and clear. But versus if you see this has been going on from years now. Every year, companies lay off or let go people, at least who are in the bottom three, less than three rating for 2 consecutive quarters or even a year. And all of them see a 5% reduction in employees and a backfill. So this is been a trend, but of late we are hearing it as layoffs. I think we should change it by saying it's not a layoff, but it is a company where it's restructuring and trying to get the best of the people. And you are one of the people whom we feel matches the role, and you have the right skills, and that is where we want to consider you for this opportunity. You need to appraise the candidate for his capabilities, for his expertise, for the project that he's delivered, and understand more of what kind of work he's doing, and get your hiring manager then involved, if to give him more in depth of the role, the project, and everything. This is the key way that I have been a part of recessions in 2007, 2010, and so on. But these were the key factors where we did hire for these kind of roles. And some of these were the points that really helped us in selling to the candidates.
So Sheetal,
Next
sometimes we
question.
also see that when the layoffs are happening, the performance is really not a matter. Uh, most of the companies have seen that. And the tenure also doesn't matter. Most of the companies have seen that as well. People with 10 years, people with 15 years, because
Tenure
person
really
wants
does
survive.
not matter.
Hmm?
Tenure really does not matter. You can be 1 month, you can be even 10 years old in the system.
That's it.
So
Like we have
there
seen
is
people,
a
because
lot
it's
of
not easy for a
budgeting
person
that
to
comes in
survive
play.
for 10 years in the industry. Sorry, 10 years in the same company without a performance. It's not really possible that without a performance, person is surviving in the company for 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. But why is that so? Means even having so much of performance, even having so much of tenure, when the person is getting laid off, that's really a concern for a candidate. Even the tenured person who is really performing well has been laid off. So pitching them really becomes a pain.
Correct. But then a lot of them, what they feel is, why do they let go of tenured people? Is they want fresh blood to come in. They want new thoughts. They want new ideas. So there are a lot of these things also that play a vital factor, because they want, more innovation, more thoughts to it. So they don't want the people who work in the same structured manner. That is why they look at moving out even the tenured people at some time, unless the person is not looking at building or upskilling himself, looking at using the new innovatives. It is a challenge even then to retain those kind of people as well.
Absolutely. And on a counter side, we see that even the people who joined recently, they're the fresh bloods, the way you said, that we need to give a chance to the fresh minds. Even they're getting laid off. So we are unable to make a calculation. What exactly the calculation of layoffs? But in that situation, what is that we should be pitching to the candidates when the candidate is asking, okay, both the side of people I'm saying, where you see the tenure who is getting laid off,
uh,
but you see the fresh minds who is getting laid off. Is my job safe if I join your company? And what is that you would say that we should be uh, pitching in? That too in a very initial stage. where hiring manager might not really be interested.
So getting to your point of saying, even if I'm into the system and I might get laid off and I might, just because I've just joined, I'm not sure. There is no
Absolutely. That is
control.
also there are some calculations. Please join most recently joined first gone some kind of calculations like that. Even those are going around. Please join
See,
first gone.
Shiv, how much ever we break this down, I don't think we ever come to a math calculation from any organization tell us as to why they want to let go of a tenured person versus even why they want to
Absolutely.
let
That's
go of
why.
a
So in that situation is where we are discussing about what is that we should be pitching to the candidate.
yes.
So
So
it's
when
more
we
of
are
pitching
pitching
the
to the
candidate.
candidate, correct. So when we are pitching to the candidate is where we have to, as somebody, one of the team members said on the conversation, be extremely confident about what you're talking and why you really want to hire that person for this role. That is your key. Your confidence level of discussion with him. You should be positive about discussing the role with him. You should be positive about talking to him about a roadmap. You should know in and out of what role is going to give the person a growth. And was it people
Absolutely.
from this particular team who got laid off versus a different team? Have that clarity. And if you can also give him a breakdown of what roles were laid off versus what roles are we hiring for, what is the restructuring that we've done. You know, before any call, especially with mid and senior level candidates, they want to know all of this today.
Absolutely. So no in and out of the role, teams which got laid off and teams which are hiring. And
Correct. And why did the team also go into a layoff? What was the reason if we can get more information from the business or stakeholders or our co-colleagues? What made them to let go of these people? Was there no a way that we could remap them? There are a lot of things that first we as a recruiter should get within the system, and then that will help us to say of how we can counter sell to the market outside.
in terms of business also, let's say there's a team specific team which has got laid off, but the kind of a revenue the team was generating was not really justifying. So that could be one of the reason as well. So yeah,
Correct.
Monica, any follow-up questions for Sheetal, Harish, Jyoti, Akansha, rest anyone?
Yeah. So, like there was a situation when on LinkedIn, I guess everyone might have seen that there were few people who were writing that recently I got a best performance award or like best employee award. I got a good like hike or anything. And on the second moment, they got the news of getting laid off. So here we cannot question on the performance. Again, as Shiv said, that there are people who performed really well, still they were laid off. And like there were some people who mentioned that my entire team was working very good, they were very bright, still they were laid off. So again here, when we are like, LinkedIn is an open platform where we can read anything and everything about any company where we are going to join. So suppose I am joining some organization and I see that the best teams from that organization has been laid off. How can I like feel safe in joining that organization when I already know and read it clearly on LinkedIn that the best teams are getting laid off? So even if I perform good, there is like no guarantee of that.
So how do you pitch? Basically, again,
So,
as Sheetal
Yeah,
mentioned, it's all about your
uh,
confidence. Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
please go ahead.
true, Monica. And just 1 second. Like, this is a very good question. In fact, yeah, that is people think in that way. Why should I join? Right? Like, but there is no guarantee. No one can give a guarantee for any candidate. Any company can fire. So we have to convince in that way. Like, no company can keep them if they are not performing. All right. So we have to give them in that. We have to convince in that way. In fact, no company can give a guaranteed job or can keep them even though they are not performing, or if there is no business or whatever the reason. Anyone can lay off, like even not necessarily like, okay, only Google or some XYZ company can fire. So any company can fire if they are if their performance is bad, or if business is not doing good, or whatever the reason. So maybe you can convince in that way, Monica.
Got it.
Yeah,
So we have Pragya
Monica.
also. Pragya, yeah, you can please go ahead. She has been
Hi
in
everyone,
value for a while.
Pragya this side. I'm altogether 11 years of experience and currently with Zscaler. So very
Great.
interesting topic. My inputs here would be when you are reaching out to the candidates, talk about the vision of the organization, the individual. When I say the candidate skills, their career goals, are they aligned with the company vision? Talk about this is the area of focus where the company want to grow, and these are the prioritization roles which are open. When you show these kind of confidence to the candidate, I'm sure they can see a long-term career growth and association with you.
So
So
Pragya, I
the
just missed
point
you. Can
here
you
is,
please rephrase it?
yeah, sure. So I'm saying when we are reaching out to these candidates, the points would be the vision of the organization and the individual. When I say the candidates skill, their your career goals are in alignment with the company's growth. Talk about this is the focus area where company wants to grow, and that's why these prioritized roles are open. So when you'll tell all these things to the candidates, they can see a long-term association with the company and they can see a career growth with you. So it's about the individual skills as well as the company's growth focus. So they
Awesome.
have to be aligned.
That's definitely an awesome thought, actually. Like aligning their interest, why this role is actually, and how they fit into this role, and on a longer run, what's the vision of the company, and how this basically in this role, how both together can grow. Actually, that's an amazing
Absolutely,
answer.
yeah. Yeah, just tell the candidates about the focus area where the company wants to grow and how they can contribute in the same and can see a long-term career association.
Basically, win-win situation from both the sides.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. So yeah, Monika, any follow-up questions for Pragya or anyone
Yeah,
here?
I wanted to add something.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, to Monica's point that she said she read on LinkedIn, this is the best team which is laid off. Then it is equally important to read what was the root cause of laying off. If we are reading the best team is laid off, then we will also read what was the root cause why they were laid off. Their reason could be they are, diversification. They are stopping this, business unit. Quite possible. And when we are pitching the candidates, if he comes out with these kind of questions, we tell them honestly, yes, even if I'm the candidate, I say best team was laid off, then I have a good reason to tell him, look, they are diversifying this business. They were not profitable. This is one point. And second thing, which is very important and which is the real root cause in big branded organizations, the people, every HR team, they have a, clear rating of every individual who is a star performer, who is the average performer. So very honestly, we can convey our organization is a branded one, and they want people to have a competition and run in the race to be star performers. And second, when we talked of senior people, the real root cause behind their laid off is they don't upgrade their skills with the latest technologies, the way they are changing. So these two reasons also we can convey. Please, if you are coming us, this is an organization where you have to perform at the top. You have to always consistently stay at the top performer.
So I understand, Sandy sir, but doesn't it put a recruiter in a spot when they're talking to the external candidates? They are not even employees yet, but I'm talking to the candidates and I'm saying that my employees are non-performing employees. That's reason that we are
Sir,
laying them off.
we never said not performing. We started like this very clearly that every year there is an exercise of process efficiencies. During that efficiencies and to bring improvement, this is happening. Laid off is happening. And if somebody says the best team has laid off, we might have one good reason that this business unit is something we are not going forward because it's not profitable. And this is the real root cause also, that out of 10 people who are if not a business unit closing, mostly the people who are laid off, they are picked up like this from the bottom, who are not top performers or who are not up. This is real. I have real data behind that. That is how I'm talking. Senior people, they don't upgrade their skills, and organization keeps on
But
telling for
that's again putting a recruiter on a spot that you're informing something which is you're not supposed to inform the externals. Especially in big companies, there's a clause where that is something the internal discussion. You're not supposed to discuss anything related to the employee's performance to the externals or not even the internals. That's the HRBP job. It's not the recruiter's job. So if I'm telling a candidate that they were not really performing or the business was not doing well, that means I'm breaching the clause of information.
No, that we have to
If
think.
I'm saying this business is not doing good, that's the reason they're laying off. That means I'm breaching the
No, but that is already on the LinkedIn. That is already on one side. You'll get a news. This team is 100 people laid off.
That means I'm confirming that is true.
No, but on the same side, there is they are closing this business unit also. I'm just giving one example.
That is there.
It is
Okay,
already
there
out
might
in
be a
the
fake news or whatever, but
it is a news.
that means I'm supporting that news, being an employee of the company,
But
which
it is
company is
public
paying
news.
me.
No, but it is a public news, sir. I'm just giving one example. Sometimes the example Monika said,
There are two types of
highest
things. One
performance.
is a public news. Let's say if this is not public. Let's imagine a situation which is not public.
Okay, if it is not public and still best team is laid off, that is what you're asking now.
Anything which is not public, but there are people getting laid off. But the news is not public. Layoff is public, but which teams, which product, which org in that org, that is not public. Or whether it is based on the performance, that is also. So, okay, if it is based on the performance, if the leadership is giving a news in the industry that is based on a performance, then we really don't have to worry to convey the candidate because they are not a good performance and all. And I really don't support those words also because, again, that has a different level of understanding of performance altogether. In that also, we have seen a lot of people, a performance who has gone. But
no, they will
what
not
I
say
am
in the
trying
news.
to emphasize over here is how do you convince a candidate without putting employees in our spot? Because end of the day, they were the employees.
Sir, understood. It is just articulation. If somebody, we really have to pitch him. And he about his talking, that what kind of people are, these kind of questions are coming to us. Definitely, we'll have to give some answer. I'm just giving a positive answer that organization is always, keeping top performers. It is all relative, out of 10 people, somebody is at number 1, somebody is at 10. And these are all positive messages that we are growing and the people we want to be a star performer. I'm just putting in a positive way. Is what I'm saying. And to
No,
me, it
as a
doesn't look
recruiter,
like.
I never want to put my employees in a spot whatsoever, whether they're performer or non-performer. As a recruiter, to be a true employee of a company, I don't really want to put those people on a spot. बोले तो उनके कंधे पे बंदूक रख के नहीं चलाना है कैंडिडेट्स को. Simple language में बोला जाए तो.
Shiv, I want to add to this. Like you
Sorry.
rightly said, we should actually not get into the conversations of performance as well with the candidates. We should, very diplomatically handle this because sometimes it's a matter of sensitivity. Sometimes it could be that things could get blown out of proportion and it could backfire on you. So, when this question comes to you, very neatly, just you have to very clearly and neatly close it stating that, hey, this is a leadership decision and it's not something that's been taken at a ground level, and none of us have control on this, right? While this is a leadership decision, but for the organization, both of the organization. So
We just lost you, Jyoti. Can you please slightly repeat? Before 1 2 seconds, we lost you. For
yeah.
the organization?
For the restructuring does happen in all organizations because of economic slowdown, but for the growth of the organization, it's very critical that we continue to invest in areas in, like, example, security or AI, right? These areas continue to be a hotspot and we continue to invest in these areas. So as a part of those growth plan projections, we are continuing to hire, and hence we are reaching out to you. So you can put it across that way, bring back the focus from layoffs and restructuring to building back the focus on some of the critical hiring that's going to happen. And, like Pragya said, talk about the focus, talk about what is the growth path that they have for this role, and what is in for the candidate, right? So that is where we should bring back the focus of the conversation, rather than just I know it sounds odd, but we need to have that knack of bringing back the conversation to what is important, rather than getting into the zones which is actually sensitive. That's my take on
Bang on.
this.
Bang on, Jyoti. You're bang on. Bringing back the discussion, which is basically focused on what is important as of now, rather than dragging the discussion towards what's going on.
Yeah.
Monica, I guess she's bang on.
Yeah, she
Feel free to
she said
disagree.
very right. I agree. I agree with her. Because again,
Right.
you said right, Shiv, that like being a recruiter, when you are actively hiring, like we as a recruiter being a part of the organization where we have some of the visibility what is going inside the organization, we are bound not to tell this or leak any kind of information, whether it's a tiny one or whether it's a like a major thing that we already know. Like being in a recruitment team, we know some things, but we cannot tell this to the outer candidate or the external candidate or even the employees. We cannot tell them those numbers or data whatever is visible to us, because again that will be that can lead us to a legal issue. So there are some situations where we cannot tell them those points, but I agree with Jyoti. She told the valid points that we need to focus on some points where we can tell them the vision, where we can tell them what we are bringing to those candidates in for that particular position. So I agree with her.
Otherwise, basically, candidate will drive to the discussion. It's not the recruiter is driving the discussion. Candidate will
Yeah.
try to probe, gather more information. And unconsciously, recruiter has given all the information. Which team has fired, why they have fired, how many people they have fired, whether that is revenue generating or not, what was the purpose of the business. So that discussion is completely driven by the candidate, not by the recruiter. And unconsciously, as a recruiter, we have given all the information which we are not supposed to. And it might
Mm,
eventually fire back. Who knows? The candidate sitting over there can be HRBP and who's trying to see which recruiter there is leaking the information.
exactly.
Absolutely. You're bang on, Jyoti.
So right, I mean,
Maybe.
these conversations are so sensitive, sure. And then
Absolutely.
training our recruiters and sources on having such really, really sensitive conversations while we go to the external world and talk to candidates is so important, and it doesn't just come in one go, but multiple practices. I mean, the pitch, how you talk to the candidates, all that is so essential. If not, you never know. Tomorrow, in the first page of LinkedIn wall, will be your name. This recruiter from this company told me that you got laid off because it was not doing well, and these are the numbers. I mean, that's like crazy, and you will be I mean, your name will be there in the next filing list.
Who knows?
That
That
is true,
candidate is just the
Jyoti.
friend of someone who got laid off.
Because candidates nowadays, Shiv, like they are very active. They record everything.
Ah,
I mean, they will post anything and everything whatever you are telling them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's where how do you deal with the sensitive information is the way like Jyoti expressed as thought. Rather, try to focus on the area where company continues to hire on, and those are the businesses which are always revenue generating. And how the candidates are really important in that particular business is, I believe that's kind of a bang on. And yes, we got a lot of other suggestions also, and which are still bang on, supporting all this discussions. Anyone else want to share any other thoughts? Monica, any pushback on any of the suggestions from any of us?
Yeah, sure. I would
Though I've
like to
done a
add.
little bit of pushback for you, but yes, you can please go ahead and do it.
I guess someone was speaking.
Yeah,
Yes,
please.
sir. I was just listening to this conversation. It is really interesting. I just want to share here, as Monica and said, we cannot give the sensitive information, but we can tell the candidate like this position has been approved by the management, and this is the budgeted or replacement position. So why we are hiring, and these kind of basic information we can give, and that can a little bit give the idea to the candidate to either to join this organization or proceed further or not. I agree we cannot give the detailed information because that are the might lead to the legal issues or confidentiality purpose. But basic information we can give. Suppose if the position have we have recently means seen the news like Amazon's positions have been not approved, but still manager has hired. So these kind of thing we can counter and we can say like these positions have been approved for this budgeted year, and certainly we are going to keep this position for this year at least. Or we are looking to hire and we are looking to means what we can say, we are looking to hire and we are looking to grow on certain business unit or certain area. So that way we can convince the candidate, because certainly candidate will come up with a lot of cross questions about the security, because candidate don't bother about the how what the company is doing, what kind of project they are doing. As per their perspective, they want their job security. Either I will be they can ask the question like I could be the part of the 10% of this layoff team, rather 80% or 90% team which is existing. They can come up certain that kind of question. So we can give, I think we can focus more into the why we are hiring and what is the purpose of this hire than rather talking to other things. That
Absolutely.
is
Bang on, Namrata. Again, Namrata is still uh, focused on convincing a candidate the importance of the role and why do we got the approval for this specific role and what importance this particular role would play in the organization. Rather than focusing on negatives, start focusing on positives, and then that's where we'll be able to drive the positive discussions with the candidate. And on top of that, the most important to drive the positive discussion, as someone mentioned over here, that we should know in and out of the role. I think Sheetal has mentioned that we should know about the in and out of the role. Apart from that, in and out of the business. Apart from that, um, I think Anand has mentioned that Akansha, no, not Akansha, Sandhya, Monica, and someone else mentioned that unless we are not confident, we won't be able to sell it. So first is that we need to get confident. If we need a confidence, then definitely we know the in and of the role, of the organization, of the business, everything. So yeah, bang on. Rather than discussing on negatives, let's start discussing on positives.
Yeah, because there has been cases where the candidate employee got laid off, who were promoted and who were got transferred and who were in performance. So those things, if you say like you be performing and this that candidate is not going to listen, because there is many cases where candidate who has last 20 years, 30 years, 21 years, and they are promoted and they still they got laid off. So candidate will not listen all those things. Their concern is my job is secure or not. Either I should go with this position or not. That was their core focus. They don't think about the entire organization and how others are doing, because they have to earn livelihood for themselves. So that's better we should talk about the why we are hiring, what is the reason, what kind of means positions we can take further. Either this position is budgeted, which is a replacement. We can tell them these are the basic information. I think any company can allow you to give the information, and we can talk to the business, right? What is the career growth as of now, because we can tell them, because future no one knows. Even we don't know tomorrow we are alive or not, but this is the growth plan as of now management had decided, basically, right? Like 6 month project or 1 year project, or basic information we can give rather than going into depth. That way we can convince the candidate.
Absolutely. Bang on, Namrata. Um, Great. So we have Priyanka. Yeah, Priyanka, please go ahead.
Hi everyone, this is Priyanka here. I'm working with Silver People, and my client is Darwinbox and Mindra. So I'm supporting them in their hiring process. So I really enjoyed the discussion so happened so far, and really I appreciate your gesture, Nishiv. Very interesting topic to discuss right now. So basically, we are also having this layoffs going on, and I'm leading a team here, and where I am also facing this issue, of pitching, not pitching, how to pitch. What I believe is, what I have figured it out so far is recruiting pitch has to be, it's like rebranding your brand. For example, Mintra, it's a brand. Now people are getting laid off. So we have to rebrand it. That why people are got laid off, where you stand on the what you bring to the table. The pitch has to be very positive. And also we should discuss about, as I think someone's told that transparency is very important. You have to be very candid with the candidates. You have to, as a team lead, what I have done is, I have um, asked the hiring managers, just to create a video where we share with the candidates that how Mintra is growing, and how we are looking for less, for example, for like 10 years, where we are looking for, and what is the importance of this role, and what we are looking in the candidate. So that is one thing which I feel, that is really a bang on for us. People are very connected, feel very connected to us when we share these videos with them, where Mindra is standing as a leader, right, in on this e-commerce market. So this is how we are taking it ahead. And of course, for leadership hiring, which I'm also taking care of, leadership hiring, we prefer of explore call. Of course, leaders, they know in and out of every business, so we can't play with words, or we can't take them to another direction for sure. So we need to, be very clear with them, and the hiring managers, and as a recruiter, I will be sitting with them and talking to them, that what is importance of this role, just to make it more positive, rather than talking about the negative of the layoffs, which of course nobody wants to get laid off, right? So this pitch and this videos, definitely help us, and moreover in getting more placements so far, even though we are laying off a lot in different departments. So that's all.
Awesome. Here, the really call out point is kind of a video which is really playing an important role over here, where hiring manager is creating a video and explaining the candidate what the role is all about, how much the importance of the role, how the candidate can play a crucial role, what's there for the candidate to bring it to the table in next 1 to 2 years. It's really amazing. And then again for the leadership, having leaders involved in the initial exploratory call, that's again amazing. Again, mostly everyone is focusing on trying to focus on positives rather than driving a discussion with the negatives. So great, Priyanka. Priyanka, you're from? I just missed it. Priyanka?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was talking on mute. I'm so sorry. I'm Silver People, and it's an agency. It's a boutique agency, but our clients are Mintra, Darwin Box. We are supporting them in the hiring process. So
Awesome.
yes, thank you.
Great. Yeah. Uh, so Monica, any follow-up questions for Priyanka or Namrata or Pragya, anyone else, or have you got the right answers? What did you like about us? Basically about the discussion. Uh, has it given you the confidence? The way you said uh, you're confused. So has it cleared your confusion?
Yes, it has cleared my confusion. Now I feel that I can positively answer my candidates with confidence that what are the situations, what is that they can look in our organization whenever they are joining. So this discussion was quite positive, and being ourselves as employees, as a recruiter, these are the points where we can modify our answers when we are doing the conversation with the candidate. These answers will really help me, and I guess everyone, whoever is in the recruitment field, these are the answers which we are always looking on, because the candidates keep questioning because of that is the like earning for them. So I'm very much satisfied with the answers, and I guess from the next time when I'm going to have a call with my candidates, I'll be able to answer them in a positive manner.
Monica, I
Awesome.
would like
Great.
to add
Thank you so much for your
few as
feedback, Monica, as well. Each one of us who has contributed to discussion. Thank you so much. So let's continue such kind of a discussions on every Friday nights on hiring solved by Sourcing Express. So yeah, anyone
few.
else wanted to call out something? Please feel
Yeah,
free to,
so
but
I would
otherwise,
like to add one point here.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, Namrata, please go ahead.
yeah, one point which I missed. We also have to understand the candidate situation. Like when we are hiring for the leadership position, so the candidates are mostly means in the where in the career stage there they are paying the EMIs and home loans and all, right? So they are more focused about their job security. So so we have to understand their situation as well before talking to initiating our conversation and teaching the our way how to convince. So that's also we have to keep in our mind because mid-level candidates are more concerned about their job security. So
Great, great.
that part is also one of the we have to look into rather than other things what we are talking. We have already spoken
Awesome.
because
Great,
that
Namrata. Priyanka, Akansha, you also raised a hand. You wanted to have something. Yeah.
Yeah, Shiv, Akanksha here.
Mm-hmm.
I would just summing up with the conversation in just one line that maybe it's not only the pitch, it should be a warmth of connect with the candidates, with the employees at the end who being laid off or who being in such trouble situation. So it's just not the pitch how we do so, it's just the warm of connect so that in near future also if we have something or if they do have something, we may be in connect in that place.
Awesome. Great.
Should I wanted to add one more point that what happens is whenever we are hiring for a role, and in these times, what happens is the hire call has happened, and just we are still waiting for approvals from our leadership team, and that approval never comes. We get to know that these roles have been paused, right? So a word of caution is it's very important to have a non-committal conversation and not really giving up this information to the candidates in the very first go, because they don't understand the language of approvals or non-approvals and all that, right? It's just that we need to let them know that, hey, there is a role open, that is all. Or there is a role for which we are identifying the candidate from the external world. If we are talking in the language of approvals, what happens is tomorrow the role goes for a freeze just when the candidate is identified and it's a positive hire call, and it will definitely backfire on the recruiter who is the face of the organization for the candidate. So that was just one minute observation that I had.
So you meant to say
Very valid
communicate a candidate uh, on what means you used a very good word actually. Communicate a candidate on non-promising
Uh,
way. Or
so
what is
we,
it?
basically we only need to speak to the candidate that we are identifying a suitable candidate for a position, for an upcoming position or for an open position. That is how we need to position the role with the candidate. We should not really have the conversation around approvals or anything to
Mm.
do with we have a sign off, we have approval to go ahead. No, that is not what the candidate would want to hear from us, and that's nothing to do with our conversation with the candidate. So we should just generally avoid,
Absolutely.
because we never know. At least in my personal experience, recently of late I had a couple of hire calls and we had to really let go of those hire calls. We had nothing to do. It's an organized decision, right? So it
Mm.
can happen with anyone. So it's primarily extremely important that we do not get into those conversations the very first level, and at every stage be non-committal. If you're committed,
Non-committed,
which means
non-committed.
get into
Communicating
the
in
trap.
non-committed way. Communicating in non-committed way. Absolutely. Hang on. Hang on, you are.
Yeah.
Communicating uh, in non-committed way. Awesome. Hmm. So to add this, communicating in non-committed way. Okay, so recently I had an experience where I had a candidate who is already in a final stage of interview, but we are kind of again skeptical. So I just have to create a backup pipe where I've created a pipe and we got another candidate who was really interested in this role. But I just inform them, see, we already have a candidate which is already in a final process. However, we might open one more role. So that's the reason that we are actually building a pipe. But at the same time, it is not really confirmed yet. I'll let you know once we are back in the process. So he was like, okay, fine. So tomorrow,
Yeah.
just in case if this candidate gets rejects also, we have a pipe over there. Just in case if this candidate gets select also, this candidate is not really following up much because we already gave a heads up that there's already a candidate in the final process and we might or we might not open a role. However, we wanted to be ready with the pipe. That's it. So I'm not giving any commitment. We are might, but when we give the commitment, then candidate starts following then as Jyoti mentioned, it might always backfire you as well. That's a very valid point. A lot of people goes through this kind of a situation. Yeah,
Right.
someone was telling about these things that they also have experienced the similar thing in recent. Was it Monica, you only?
No, no, no.
Akansha, I believe that. Great. Any other thoughts? Anything around?
One more input I'll just say, which I find very unique. I will not name the organization.
Mhm.
As normally the people who are laid off, so they are trying to adjust across the different departments, internally before hiring any new, all those normal processes. This organization, what they did, they reached out to other similar organizations where these kind of skill sets can be useful. And many of the candidates who were laid off, they got adjusted in these organizations,
So that's
they
at the
got
leadership level.
no.
I agree. That's a positive point as well. Yeah.
So many people, they adjusted by talking to different organizations with similar skill set. That is, I really appreciate that, because that mindset of the people being laid off is, I can understand very well. So I just wanted to say this is ideally every organization should do for the people being laid off. Try to adjust across, request organizations nearby or outstation. If you are in Delhi, ask in Bangalore. This one organization has done, and it was a big news in LinkedIn. That is the thing.
Great. Awesome. So yeah, anyone else? Any thoughts around? Any suggestions around? And I guess Monica, you got what you wanted from the session.
Exactly. Thank you so much, everyone who have putting up their contribution, because this question is like very, very common, and every recruiter faces such type of like whether it's a small organization or a startup, every recruiter has to face some or other day this type of question from the candidates. So I'm very thankful to all of you, and thanks
Right.
Shiv for
Awesome.
having this platform actually.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. I think we are good now for the kind of a question that we got today. And let's keep on connecting on every Friday nights on such critical questions or such critical scenarios. Thanks, everyone. Thanks you so much for
Thank
each
you.
one of your contribution.
Thank you, Shiv.
Please
Thank
ask
you,
as many
Monica.
questions as such similar questions, and please come up with as many as possible suggestions. We'll continue to connect. So thank you. Bye. Good night.
Thank you, Shiv. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.